Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated. Today, we have the awesome Chip Baker on our show with us today, and he's going to be sharing about the work that he does and telling us about the books that he has out and telling us a little bit about his life. I've heard such good things about you. I've also met you back in February at Melanie Ake's event, and I was very impressed with the presentation that you gave. Um, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself to our audience.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks so much for the opportunity to hear with you on your platform. Nobody highly enough for me to have me, to listen to me talk anytime. I'm just grateful for that, first off. But the next thing is I'm Chip Baker. I'm a fourth generation educator. Um, Blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people and be around some awesome folks in my life and some great people to learn from in my career. I started the Success Chronicles a little over 4 years ago. And the Success Chronicles is my YouTube channel and podcast where I interview people from all walks of life and I share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. And so that's just a little bit about me. Um, it's been a neat journey. It's been a neat ride, and I'm continuing to learn so much along that journey.
Okay, well, let's jump right into it. So on the end of your name, you have the TSC. Why don't you
Yeah.
tell everybody what that is and what all of that entails?
Yeah, so the TSC is the Success Chronicles. And like I said, it's the YouTube channel and podcast. But really, um, man, it's been cool. When I started out doing the Success Chronicles, I really just wanted to. I realized that, like I said, I was blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people, and we always had amazing conversations, right? And they had some experiences that inspired and motivated me, and so I just felt that, man, I got to share this. I can't keep that to myself because it's so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started sharing those stories and start meeting other people, and people are connecting me to folks, and being able to travel and speak, which is where we met in Indy, at Mel's conference, leadership conference. And so, yeah, the Success Chronicles is just, my thing, what I do. I really like stories, like to hear other people's story because I think we can all learn from one another, and it's really, people from all walks of life. Sometimes I have people that ask me, so, what's what kind of people are you looking for, or what's your qualifications to be on your show? And I tell them, I just have one, and that's if they'll talk to me.
I
You know,
understand that.
like if you'll talk to me, let's have a good time hanging out, right? And so that's really what it is, man. Just hanging out with your boy, talking some real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I get that. I get that. I like that little play on words you did there. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay, so when I was looking at your bio
Hmm.
that you sent over, it said that you had been teaching and a coach for 21 years and that you are a fourth generation teacher. Okay,
Yeah.
so how did the fourth generation teacher thing play in?
Oh man, when you say that, it gave me chills because I take great pride in that. So my mom was an educator, my grandmother was an educator, and my great grandmother was an educator. So that's how I'm a fourth generation educator, and I have a sister, younger sister, and she's an educator as well. So really, it's in the blood. I
Okay.
tell people, I come from my family's church folk and educators. That's folk with no S, right?
I
So,
got you. I got you.
so it's real church, right? All the time. And so church folk and educators, and learned a long time ago at an early age that it's about giving service, and that's what we do. It's in the blood. It's about giving service, helping others, knowing that we're blessed to be a blessing.
Mhm.
And so that's, try to live a life of that on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I've tried to do in hopes to make them happy and proud of the things that I'm able to do. And so I think I've done it a little bit, hopefully.
Hopefully. Well,
Yeah.
I can understand that. So how did you catch the bug? Because a lot of times we'll grow up and we say, I am not doing nothing my parents did. I'm not doing any of that. So what about the legacy that the women in your family lived before you in real time that made you want to step into that profession?
Well, I'll tell this story, and I think you heard me tell this story because I talked about it at the conference. But I'll tell this story. So there's so many stories of me um, hearing from people the impact that my family members have made, positive impact that my family members have made on their lives. And so I'll tell this one. When I was a kid, I don't know, early, I wasn't a teenager, probably late, right before I was a teenager, 8 or 9 or so. We were at a church function in Austin, Texas. Like I remember, like I could see it. Like, we went Austin at this church function, and this lady came up to my mother, and she was like, she hugged her, and you could tell my mother didn't really know who she was, but she's being cordial, and she's like, "I loved your grandmother," which is my great grandmother, and my mom was like, "Oh, thank you." She's like, "No, you don't understand. Like, I loved your great grandmother, your grandmother." And so she went on to tell this story of how, when she was, growing up, and it was, before segregation and everything, and um, she was poor. Her family was very poor, and she couldn't afford even the personal hygiene things that she needed to be able to go to school. So she would miss school a lot. And so, my great grandmother would ask her, "Baby, why you missing school?" And would be looking out for her. And finally, she told her, what the deal was, and she said, um, she was telling my mother, your grandmother bought me the things that I needed to make sure I could go to school, and she bought me a coat so that I could go to school and not miss school and get my education. And so,
Wow.
yeah, and so you can imagine, being a kid, just like listening to that story, and first off, seeing the pure excitement, enjoyment, passion, fulfillment in which
Hmm.
she was telling the story, and then seeing on the receiving end of how my mother was just taking it in, and she was just blown away. And at that time, my mom had already been in education for a while, and so that was kind of one of the hooks, one of the major hooks. I was like, man, like if you can make that much of a difference in the life of someone, and man, I need to probably do some of that stuff in my life. And so I hope that, which I think I have, because I've heard some things. I hope that some of the kids that I've been blessed to be around, and people that I've been blessed to be around, have stories like that they can tell my son. And so which I've heard him repeat some of those things that people have said to him. So it's there, and it makes me happy that, and I, to know that I've put in the work to be able to make a positive difference in the life of someone too. So that's kind of the generational thing.
Okay. So as you were growing up, and your mom and your grandmother and your great grandmother are these legends in
Yeah.
real life, in front of you, and the stories that you heard, how did that translate into the man that you are today?
That's a good question. And I appreciate you asking that, because it gives me an opportunity to say some great things about them people, right? And so, I just watch them on a day-to-day basis just work hard. I
Hmm.
watch them on a day-to-day basis just give everything they got to give to help others, even when we didn't have ourselves. My mother, she did lots, like in our town. She was the first black lady on the city council in our town. She designed some programs in our city, like the free lunch program, and set up some things to where she would bus kids to Texas A&M University for like sports camps, and give opportunities for kids. So I mean, like big things. I was able to just watch them do, and have a food deal at our church for Thanksgiving, where we deliver food and pray for people, and then we go home and we don't have any food at our house. Like those things, like just go above and beyond to give.
Mhm.
And but the flip side of that is I've seen all of those things, come full circle and be returned as well, because, and I'll just tell you, like had the opportunity to be the head football coach and athletic director in my hometown for a couple years, and there's a lot of people that love me, uh, from my hometown, and I can tell you it wasn't because of Chip's qualifications. Maybe Chip is an all right guy, but them people took care of me because they love my mama, right? And because they loved my mother and my grandmother and my family, there's a whole lot of folks that really looked out for me, and
Mhm.
not just in my hometown, but in my life, and that's what it's all about.
I can relate to that. I've got a mother like yours,
That's
bigger
awesome.
than life.
Yeah,
Everybody knows her. She
yeah,
can't go anywhere without
yeah,
people knowing who she is.
yeah,
Every time you see somebody, they got something great to say about her. So I can relate to it in that regard, and the legacy that they leave behind, the legacy that we get to experience in real
yeah.
time. And I don't think a lot of times people realize the importance of being able to see those things,
Mm,
because it may get on our nerves when we're growing up, but
yeah.
we find ourselves as we become adults and we're raising our children, that we are using the very same values, that we seem to fall back on those values that we saw being lived out before us.
Come
And
on.
I think that that's really, really important to individuals to understand, even in today's society, because this generation that's coming up now, they're the show me generation. They don't want you to tell them nothing, but
Right.
show me. If that's what you want me to do, then I need to see you doing it.
Well, just to comment on what you're saying, um, man, first off, I think it's awesome that you're blessed to have that as well, and it's so good when you can have that and see that, and then when you can do things to make them happy,
Hmm.
because they see you walking in the purpose as well. That's a whole nother podcast episode right there.
Right, right,
But just to comment on what you were saying, to me, I think that yes, things change. In life, technology, those kind of inventions, those kind of things. But there's some core common principles in life that don't change.
right,
Regardless of what's going on in the world, like you got to treat people right. Regardless of what's going on in the world, you got to work your tail off. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless of what's going on in the world, you have to be morally right and do things the right way and make good choices
right.
if you expect to um, be successful. And that's real talk right there. Oh, there I go again.
That
Come
is real
on.
talk.
That's real talk.
That's real talk. So, in what it is that you saw going on in your household, and the women that played major roles in your life, um, I hear you talking a lot about your mom and your
Mm,
grandmother and your great grandmother. So I'm wondering, what role did dad play
yeah.
in who you are today?
Yeah. So, um, well, let me go back. I'll tell people all the time I was raised with a superhero in my house, and that superhero was my mother, right?
Hmm.
But my father was in my life. My parents separated when I was 5 years old. I was born in Dallas, Texas. My dad's side of the family is from Dallas, Texas. Great people. My mother's side of the family is from a smaller town, Hearn, Texas, which is close to Bryan College Station, Texas A&M University.
Hmm.
It's close to there. And so when they split, we moved to my mother's hometown. My mom, myself, and my younger sister, and she's 4 years younger than me. And we moved to my mother's hometown of Hearn. And so, I don't want to be misconstrued. A lot of times you say, well, your parents split, you poured that old dart,
Hmm.
No, it wasn't like that. My dad was a great guy. He fulfilled his end of his obligations and his responsibilities and those kind of things. I don't want it to be like, my dad wasn't, it wasn't like that, but he wasn't in my house.
Exactly.
Right. So, what I'm saying? So there are some things that I missed out on as far as having that, father son experience. Although he was in my life, and so I have to be real on that as well. But we later in my life, we got to be able to build a really awesome um, relationship and talk, and that came about. And I'll just share this with you. I played four sports for 4 years in high school. Played college football. Then I've been a teacher, coach. I've coached for 20 years. So sports is a huge part. But the spring of my senior year in high school, when I was taking recruiting trips and doing that whole process, and my dad never took off work, right? Like he ain't believe in, like he ain't spend money on nothing, he ain't buy nothing, he ain't take off work. Just two things he didn't do, right? And so, but that spring, he took some days off to go on some recruiting trips with me. And so like that was huge for me, uh, because like I said, first off, he don't take off at work, and then secondly, it allowed us to have some time together to talk, and just hang out and build the bond and relationship. And I think that really helped our relationship. And then fast forward, he just passed a few years ago from cancer, and I was able to be there with him, have that great journey with him. So it's been good. It's been a really good life. I've been blessed. I think, just hearing your story and me talking about my story, it makes me think of, I think everybody is blessed in some sort of way, but they just have to be aware to realize it. Right. And I think that, you and I have that awareness to know that, man, we've been blessed and fortunate to achieve some great things. Now, what you gonna do with it, Chip?
There you
Now,
go.
now,
That's the next
now I got
question.
to take, yeah, now I got to take all of those things that I've learned from those great people that I've been around, and I got to go make some great things happen based on my core common principles that I've been taught in my life. And once again, Michelle P. Jones, that's some real talk. Yeah.
One of the things that I found interesting when I heard you speak back in February was you are excited about what it is that you do.
I
It's
love it.
almost like it's not really work.
Right.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
And so you can see that when you're talking. So when you're playing sports, what type of, or when you were coaching, what type of coach would you say that you were?
It's funny you ask me that because I'm the same guy in everything I do. And I think, perfect gentleman, off the field, I strive to be, but you better not have that ball in your hand on the field. I'm gonna try to tear you up, right? but but it's the same way with everything I do. When it's go time, it's go time. It's time to go get it, to make things happen. And for me, like there's no excuses, right? Don't make an excuse, just go get it done. Period. And that's how I try to live my life. I think I am very passionate about what I do. Um, the crazy thing is like I'm really like an introverted person, right? So I'm not a like like all of that, but you have just happened to caught me in my passion moments. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So like you caught me speaking. Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about that, and talking about my life and what I've been blessed to do. And you got me on your podcast here on your show. Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about that. you know,
Would you say
but,
we're talking about some stuff that you like? You
yeah,
like
come
talking about.
on,
I
man.
got you.
But
Okay, so
but my passion allows me to come alive, and
okay.
and that takes a process to get to that. For a long time in my life, I'm okay, but as I've grown older, I realized that I have some experiences. I've seen some things, experienced some things that, man, I just want to help, do my part to help. And if I can, if me, if I know that gonna experience is gonna help somebody, I got to do that, regardless of because it ain't about me. And I think that that's what allows me to be in alignment with my assignment.
Okay. Okay. So I was getting ready to go there. I know for myself that my purpose, my divine purpose, is to be an edifier.
Yeah.
So how God operated that in my life is that my goal is to educate, inspire, and empower people to tap into their greatness and let it rise to the top so that they can thereby step
Mm,
into their purpose. So,
yeah.
in what it is that we've been talking about, I know you're passionate about the students. I know you're passionate about family. I know you're passionate as a teacher and as a coach. But how does all that tie in with your purpose?
So my mission, what I do is I take care of people that take care of people, right? And I do that by showing them that they are capable and have the ability to make a positive difference in this world. And so everything I do falls under that umbrella. I just want to help, look out for people, because there's been a whole lot of folks in my life that have done that for me. And so everything that I do falls under that,
Okay.
and so that's how it aligns with my mission. Um, I'm big on uh, being structured and disciplined and having operation systems and operating systems by which I operate so I can move efficiently and effectively, right?
Hmm.
And so I don't waste time on things that don't fall underneath that. And I'm not that's what I do. That's how I live. So
So if I said to you, it sounds like to me, Chip, that you live your life unapologetically. What does that mean to you?
living my life unapologetically, what does that mean to me? When you say that word, I think it's synonymous with regrets. Unapologetic to me is synonymous with the word regrets,
Hmm.
right? And I think when you strive to always put your principles over your pleasures, I think that gives you no regrets.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we talked about the core common principles. We talked about the things that we believe in, the things that we've learned from those great people. I think when we can, have the awareness again and put all that into perspective and just do those things, over what sometimes what our pleasures are,
Hmm.
if we're disciplined enough to do that, I think it leaves us with no regrets and it leaves us unapologetic because, like I know, like I've never wished any ill will or done anything with ill intentions, like never. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't, like I just, man, I just am just striving to do my part, to help. And I want the best for anybody or everybody that I come in contact with. And how can I help? You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
for me, I think that really it's unapologetic and there's no regret because of that. I know the intention behind do what I do.
Okay. So understanding the date and time in which we live,
Yeah.
and not only the political but the socioeconomic um,
Yeah.
makeup of the United States at this day, being an African American male in our society, what does that look like for you?
Hmm. Being an African American male in our society, what does that look like for me? Ooh, that's a good one. I think it looks a lot of ways. you know, uh, I think the reality of it is, there have been some things that have gone on that are, not right. Some social injustices. I think it looks like, regardless of the color of my skin, I'm not going to make that an excuse because I'm just as qualified as anybody to do any job, right? And
Hmm.
so, for me, within both of those, to me, lies the fact that, like, man, it's been some people that have come before us that have sacrificed lots to give us the opportunity to be where we are. And I
Hmm.
don't take that lightly. I wholeheartedly respect every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears that people that have come before us have put into it. And, just like I said, like with my family, you know, just trying to do things to make those people proud. Lots of things that have gone on that are out of our control,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad. It's tough. I hate it, man, to the core. But I think what we really have to do is really just focus in and control the things that we can control, and continue to have those open conversations, and from the open conversations, take pure actions to get where we feel we need to get. So that's a heavy question right there. Like,
I've got two sons. One's 24 and one's 35.
yeah,
And I know with me, I guess back in when my oldest son he started driving his junior year of high school because he started working, and
yeah,
I just was not getting ready to keep getting up, taking you to work and picking you
yeah,
up.
yeah.
So we had to take care of that. And I remember he had an experience that he got pulled over, and it was probably not more than a month after I had that conversation with him.
Mm.
What happens if you get pulled over?
The
How do you
conversation,
conduct yourself if you're confronted?
the conversation.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
having that conversation, he kind of blew me off. I'm listening, Mom, but I'm not really paying attention to what you got to say, Mom. I'm listening though.
Right.
And it wasn't until after he had the experience that he came back and he was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times we fail to realize that even not only in that situation, but in other situations, we have to prepare our children for what it is that they were going to be facing in reality. Okay.
Yeah.
I was raised by two ministers, my mama and my daddy. So I'm a PK twice over, and that's
Oh
not
yeah.
necessarily a good thing. Okay. Um, but
Yeah, you know about that service, like,
oh,
yeah.
coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I've always tried to do is to deal with my spiritual side and deal with the reality in which we live,
Mm.
and apply the spiritual side and apply that to the reality in which we live in.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want my children to be faced with the situation to where they don't know what to do or they don't know where to go to get the resources.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding that, and you've mentioned your son, what legacy are you leaving him today where he's watching you do that besides, being the teacher and being the coach? I'm just talking about dad and son. I'm not talking about the professional. I'm not talking about the author. I'm not talking about the teacher or the coach. I'm talking about dad to son.
What legacy am I leaving for my son?
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Some good ones. You got this is real talk. So, I think for me, and you said, not about anybody else, but for me, I think for me, one word describes it all that I would
Okay.
want to. I hope that people can say to my son. I hope that my son can say to people. I hope that people that have been around me can say, "Man, that dude's consistent." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that goes underneath that. Uh, Consistently worked very hard, consistently did things the right way, consistently treated people right, consistently was passionate about the things that he enjoyed, consistently went above and beyond to help others. So I think that I hope that, he consistently made sure I did the right thing. My dad, if he said about me, boy, you better get it right. He was consistent about, I knew what I was going to get from him every day. Like, he helped me with making routines to help me be consistent and to help me in my life. So I think, that's the word that comes up for me as you ask that question is consistency.
In the consistency, um, you learn a lot about who you are the more
Come on.
consistent you become. Because in consistency, there's also that persistence not to give up, to keep moving forward and to try to live the best life that you can live in front of your loved ones so that they will be proud of the individual that you are. So I want to switch over a little bit. Let's talk about the Success Chronicles.
Yeah.
What is the Success Chronicles?
It's a culmination of stories from people from all walks of life, and um, they're telling their journeys about how they made it to success. And it's I hope that at the end of the day that it is legacy type stuff. You'll be able to go back and look at it and check it out, and if you're trying to find out how to be successful, son, just watch these, from people from everywhere, and so that's basically what it is, just a mix of just positive inspiration and motivation from people from all walks of life. And I have Success Chronicle interviews. I have What's on Your Heart, so I ask people like, what's on your heart currently, really just hits on like current issues that are brewing with people. Have topic sessions. My goal was, in this to make it like a network, a TV network. A TV network. There's something for everybody in there, right? So my goal is, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you come from. I do care what you've been through because I want you to be all right. I want you to come to the Success Chronicles and get this positive inspiration and motivation to not just help you, but help you help others. And really, that's what it's all about.
So if you had to look back on to date, probably one of your most inspirational or one of your shows that spoke to you, that really encouraged you, even in the midst of them telling their story, what show would that have been? What story
Ooh,
would that have been?
man, every one of them. I mean, like,
Good answer.
I know that's not what you asked. I, I know that's not what you asked, but like really, man, I've learned something from everyone. Like it blows me away. And I'm consistent with the questions that I ask too, right? So it's consistent, but like everybody has different things. So man, I don't know. Just that's tough for me to narrow it down because there's been so many good ones, about people, talking about their success. And I think the thing that's really blown me away is that like I've interviewed like people that I follow for inspiration. Like I read their books, or like I've watched them on TV in the Olympics. Like things like that. Like man, like, or like I'll see a person on TV or something and reach out to them and be like, yeah, let's do it. Like whoa, just like those kind of things have really blown me away about it. But that's hard for me to do, to just narrow it down to one. And I apologize for that, but like it's just like when you ask the question, like it's like I'm going everywhere. Like I'm just thinking like all of the that was that was like it's been great like that. And every opportunity that I get to sit down and talk with someone and to hear their story, um, I don't know, it blows me away. I think one thing too, like we talked about earlier, is the similarities that we have in our lives across all genres, across all races, across all the similarities, and then also the differences. But then there's some commonalities in there that we all can learn from.
I think that the commonality really is stepping up to the plate, because you can't be successful if you don't step up to the plate. At some point in time, you just gotta. Melanie is on, and this is what she had to say.
Go get it. Let's go. And that's what I was gonna say when you finish. I was gonna say too, like, I mean, it just boils down to going and get it and making it
Mhm.
happen. No significant success is gonna just come to you. You have to go make it happen. But the bigger thing is you have to realize that you're capable of making it happen.
So many of us don't get that. So
Yeah,
many of us have allowed the negative things that have happened in our lives, that have allowed the poor choices that we've made, that have allowed life happening situations to stop us
yeah,
from going after the things in life that we really want. And one of the things that I have found in my own life is I don't necessarily have to work for it. If I show up, it's going to show up to meet me. I just got to show up. And I think a lot of times we don't realize that if you take the opportunity and the initiative to show up, then whatever destiny has to meet you in that moment is going to show up. And the door is going to be open that you didn't even see being open. All you knew is that you had an idea, you decided to go after it, and you stepped into it. But I don't think people really get that message totally. You got something you want to say. I see it
okay.
all over you.
Okay, okay. Now you're talking my language. Like, how much time we got here?
We got
Okay,
as much time as we need.
okay. All right. So here's the thing. Um, what you just said is what I believe wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
And like, I have some, like, I'm an acronym guy. I have some principles. You may have heard, maybe even heard me talk about this before. I have something called the SHG principle, and S is show up. Like like if you say you're gonna do something, do it. It's really simple. If you tell somebody you're gonna do something, do it. If you sign up for something, have your butt there and be early. Like, show
Mhm.
up. Like, just be present in the moment. Your presence is the present, right? So just
Right,
be there and be in the moment and be present and enjoy that moment. Like you said, when you show up, like, great things happen for you. But then the H's have a great attitude. Two things you control, they say: your attitude and your effort. So,
hmm
gratitude is the attitude that determines your altitude.
right,
Have a great attitude. And then the G is just give your all. And so, whatever percentage you have to give in that moment, in that day, just give it, because any percentage is better than 0%.
right.
And so, I wholeheartedly believe if you show up, have a great attitude in everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and keep it that simple. Like, don't get thinking about all of this, all these other factors. No. Just focus in, show up today, have a great attitude today, give your all today, and that makes today a great day for you, right? And then when you do that the next day, it makes the next day, and you stack those days, and it allows you to do what we was talking about. Those people we've been talking about, how they left a legacy. It
hmm
allows us to not just leave a legacy; it allows us to live a legacy by our day-to-day actions.
Yes. Okay, so I want you to give us that acronym one more time.
Yeah. So the SHG principle is: and show up, have a great attitude, and give your all. And really, you talked about me being a teacher and coach, and really, in my coaching, the last few years that I coach, like, that was just my rules. Like, some people have rules, and all of the SHG principles, those are my rule. Like, what you can control is showing up, having a great attitude, and giving your all. If you can do that for me every day, then watch out, because it's about to be on. Get ready, because you're about to achieve some great things.
hmm Now, I'm a huge proponent and believer that whatever you put out into the universe will multiply itself and come back into your reality.
Yeah,
If you put nothing out there, then you get double nothing back.
double
But if you
nothing.
put something out there, then you're going to get that plus coming back into your life.
Yeah,
And so, and the things that you do and the work that you do with the students and all that you do, even in the raising of your son, have you considered what that looks like after you have said, okay, I'm going to back up. I've raised up some successors. They're going to step into the place and I'm going to back up. What is that going to look like for you? Have you even thought that far in advance yet?
Yeah, I have. I do that on a day-to-day basis. I think about that because I'm intentional about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do is on purpose, right? Like I told you, like I don't waste time doing things that's not intentional. It's not on purpose. It's gonna waste. I feel this will be a waste of time that don't fall under what my mission is. And so, yes, I have thought about that, and I've been able to be in positions to see those things work out. And it makes me smile and it makes my heart happy to know that my experiences that I've grown through, me being able to share those experiences to help someone and see it actually play out how it has helped them. It makes me happy, and it really makes me happy because I know it makes the big man happy, right? I know that it ain't about me. I'm just a conduit, and so yes, I think about that every day. Like I go above and beyond because I think about that every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of your books, Growing Through Your Go Through.
Yeah.
Okay, number one, how did you come up with the title? Because that's a pretty catchy title. That'll make you take a second look, like, huh? What? How did you come up with that title?
Yeah. So the book is co-written by Dr. Oliver T. Reed, and he's a sharp cat. I mean, like super sharp guy. He has 20 books in the tank. I mean, he's an amazing man. I've learned so much from him. And so, we came up with it together. We talked about, the things that we go through, or he has a deal where he says, nothing is wasted. No thing is wasted. So every experience that we're blessed to see, even though it doesn't look like a blessing at the moment, there's a blessing in every lesson.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to be aware to see it. And so when you do that, you grow through that process. And so instead of just going through it, like, be intentional about your growth through what you're going through. So and that's what I strive to do in my life on a day-to-day basis. There's wins and learning lessons, not wins and losses. So in those tough times, you have to, reshift your mindset to think, okay, what can I learn from this? Ooh, I blew that. Don't do that again. Right?
Exactly.
Right. Like, I messed that up. So you just learn, and that's where we got it from. You have to grow through what you're going through.
I like what you said, and I like the title of the book, because I'm one of those ones that I like titles of books that are going to catch your attention and make you take a second look. But you said something that I thought is very, very key, because there is really no losses. You learn more from what we consider as a loss
Come
than
on.
you do from the successes.
Hey, you say you grew up in the church, so you'll feel this one right here, man. You said that I had to look in my pocket square, right? I had to look at it like it was in there. I had to look at it twice, pick it up and throw it. Come on. hey, I was feeling it. I looked at it. I looked at you. I had to look at it again before I pulled it out of there. Throw it. Come on.
But I think that's important that people understand that, because, in the church, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. I mean, I grew up with that. That all over the place. T-shirts, everything. You find it. But when I wrote my second book, God changed that for me. He changed that acronym for me. And instead of false evidence appearing real, it's fail early and retry. Because the things that we don't understand, we fear. But if we would try it, if we would try to step into that place of wherever that fear is, we'll find out that it's not as bad as we thought that it was going to be or anticipated it being.
Hey, get ready. I'm about to hit you here.
Okay.
Hey, get ready. Hey, so how you know if you're going to be successful at it if you don't try it?
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to hit you with that. Hold on. So check this out. So what that does is when you try it, you see that, oh, I can do it.
There you
Like,
go.
I am capable, and reps make you better. The more you do that, the more you get on a roll and the consistency to being successful. And the more you look at, like, what you gonna throw at me now? Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring
Yeah.
it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so you attack every challenge because you know that on the other side of that is a great learning lesson for you, right? Man, I love that. Fail early and retry. I love that. That's good stuff.
One of the things that God has, because I'm one of those people, I'm gonna try anything once now.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. Got me into a lot of trouble growing up, but I'm gonna try it at least once. Some things I just ain't gonna try at all. But there were a lot of things that I would be like, okay, don't dare me, because I was gonna do it if you dare me. And a lot of my friends knew that. And so the way that they got around that, ones that I wouldn't do, they would dare me. So then I had to do it because I didn't want to look like a punk. You know, I got to follow through now. Got me into all kinds of trouble. All kinds of trouble. And my mother would be like, well, what did you do that for? Mama, they dared me. Okay, so if they dare you to jump off the roof, are you jumping? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I was that kid, and everybody looks at me now and they're like, "No, you wouldn't." Oh, I was that kid.
Man,
I was her.
I love it.
But one of the things that I look at and I'm enjoying our conversation because I can relate to where you're coming from, and I can see that. One of the things,
before you say that, if you don't mind, that just made me think about. I remember when I was speaking at that event and I said something about church folk. I think you were the person in the audience like, amen, I know that.
That was I. That was I.
I didn't know where it came from. I remember
that was I.
but I didn't see where it came from.
Yeah.
But I see now.
There, you know what? And I tell people I am nothing but a church girl. You know, there are certain things that when you are raised in church that are just a part of you.
Yes.
They're inbred. They're a part of who you are. And no matter what you do or what walk of life you go in, it'll never leave you. It's just gonna those principles that my parents raised me on. And there were times when I tried to run from them because I didn't want it. I didn't want it. But when you look at where you are now compared to where you were, let's say 20 years ago, did you see this? Did you see that you would be here 20, 25 years ago?
Ooh, no. I didn't think that I'd be here last year. Last week for that matter. No, I I knew that I wanted to make a positive impact. That was my goal, is just to make a positive impact. But I didn't know the magnitude of what it would be. As far as as what it is now. I ain't gonna say this big, but I'll say, the magnitude of what it is, because I think that there's still a lot of room for growth, right?
Right.
But I just, like, coming out of college, I just wanted to make a positive difference in the life of one kid, one person, and so I just showed up, had a great attitude, and gave my all to everything I've done, all of those years, every day. And I can truly say that there's been lots of things that I've learned each day. There's been lots of growth each day, personal growth, professional growth, spiritual growth each day. And so it's been neat. It's been a neat journey.
From that book, you went to effective conversation to ignite relationships. Now that's kind of deep.
It's very deep.
How did you decide, or why? What was your why behind that book?
Well, I'll start off with the first quote that I have in there, and that's from one of my former pastors, Pastor Danny Green. And it says that our life moves at the speed of our relationships. And if you think about that, those people that have great things that happen in their life, they have great relationships. And those people that don't, then they probably need some better relationships,
Mhm.
And so the component that allows you to have great relationships in your life is having effective conversations within those relationships.
Right.
And being able to communicate in your relationships allows, again, back to the G word, growth, allows so much growth because you're able to communicate effectively. That way, it's mutual. You learn from each other and you move on. And in any type of relationships, not just husband, wife, boyfriend, girl. I mean, in work, any type of relationship. I mean, it takes work to be effective, and you have to work at communicating the right way.
When you're looking at communication, because it's key,
Yeah.
I have I have people in my life that they tell me that I over communicate. I don't think
Yeah.
you could ever actually over communicate,
Yeah.
because I'm one that I'm not going to allow you to assume what I'm saying. I'm going to say what I'm
Oh,
saying, so
come
there's
on.
no assumption,
Come on. Hey,
because
hey.
you know what they say about assuming.
Yes. Hey, and that's the first tip that I talk about in the book is do not assume. Like don't assume people know, like communicate it to them. Like in teaching, don't assume they know it, teach it to them. Now if they know it, that's a bonus, right? But if you teach it to them or communicate it, then now the expectation, the bar has been set. Now this
Right.
is the way things will operate. So we know going in, now we can move on, right?
So you said you basically, what I'm hearing you saying is that through the communication you set the platform on which the relationship will grow forth.
Oh, for sure. I love that. I love the way you said it. And it's so true. Um, because it's continued growth.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in a relationship with one person, like, you're not going to be the same person in 5 years or next week,
Right.
or that other person's not going to be the same person, and as time goes. And so it's a continuous thing. There's some things that that are consistent, that it's how that person operates. But the key is to evolve and grow.
I really like that aspect of it, because my mother, probably one of the best communicators that I
Mm,
have met in my entire life. Um, and she would always tell us growing up, use your words.
yeah,
Uh-huh and ain't words. Shaking your head is not words. That could mean any number of things. And she would always tell us to use our words and to vocalize what it
yeah,
is that we're trying to say, so that people can't come back and say, well, you didn't tell me that, because you did. You told them. Now, what I said may not be what you heard.
I
I
love
have no control over that,
it. I love
but I got control over what I said.
it. Well, hey, that's some good home training right there. Like they say, that is some good home training. Hey, and then I'm gonna hit you with this. Sometimes in those situations, in those relationships, you have to revert back to your home training, right? you know,
Yeah.
like I've been in some situations and conversating, like I strive to have pure intentions and a good heart. I'm not receiving that. Okay, what would mom and them do? you know,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
I had to refer back to what would mom and them do. Okay, boy, pray about it and use your words. Okay, I pray. I got to use my words. Hey, bro, we ain't doing that. you know, Look, let me just tell you, we ain't doing that. Okay, how about them words?
There you go. There you go. So I want to go back to something that you shared earlier into our conversation.
Yeah,
You had talked about your dad that passed a few years ago
yeah.
with cancer. Um, I am dealing with that right now with my brother.
Mm,
And what I have found in the midst of this pandemic is people are losing people at astronomical rates. And if it's not due to the pandemic and the cause of the pandemic, then it seems to be due to cancer. So you've
yeah,
got these two motivating factors that are causing people to, in some instances, give up hope. And in some instances, feel as if I might as well just quit. So, understanding what you've dealt with and what I'm dealing with, if someone came up to you and said, look, I'm dealing with illness on every side of me. I'm dealing with, already have lost individuals that have died due to the virus or due to cancer. What would you say to them?
Mm, I think I'd say some of the things that we've talked about already in the interview. Um, there's a blessing in every lesson. You are capable of growing through it. Reps make you better. You know, a lot of those points that we've hit on in the interview, I would just say some of those things to that person. And the reason I can say that is because, like you said, you know, I'm on the other side of some of those things
Mm-hmm.
and growing through those things. And I'll just tell you, like I got like my starting five, you know, like mom, dad, and grandparents, grandmother. It's only one of that starting five that's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the rest of them have passed within the last 10 years. You know, and so um, I've experienced that. But all of those things that I said is what I tell you. Just be in the moment. There's things that you can learn in those experiences. Um, find the blessings and the lessons. Um, enjoy the time that you do have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that makes me smile because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt with my mother and my father, and well, all of those four, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we enjoyed the time, you know, up until the last
Mm-hmm.
second, so without a shadow of a doubt, so like I'm so grateful to have had that opportunity. It wasn't like accident that happened and like it was unexpected, like I'm grateful to have been able to be a part of taking care of them and being at the bedside and the whole all of that because it could have been the other way. And so,
Right.
man, just really enjoy what you do have. Now, the big picture is, and this is the one that kind of takes my breath away a little bit. So give me a second here. Uh, I think for me, the big component is okay. Now you have to realize that, like now I'm to people who now I'm the person to people what those people were to me. Come on, like
That's big.
really?
That's
Like that,
big.
like that's big. So guess what? I can't quit. I can't give up, right? Like it's
Right.
no other way. The only way is getting through it and growing through it. That's the only way. Because I got people looking up to me to see how to do this. So my son was right there with me when my mother passed.
Mm-hmm.
How does dad handle this? Because it's gonna be a time when it come with me, right? How's he gonna handle it with me for his kids? And so I think in anything we do, if we look at the bigger picture and know that it ain't about us, I think it allows us to put, yeah, I said I know it ain't. I got a couple degrees. I said, no, it's not about me. No, it ain't about,
It ain't.
it
It
ain't, it ain't. And so when we can understand that and truly wholeheartedly operate in that manner, it allows us to get through anything that we're going to come through. And I can tell you again that you're capable of doing it because, man, I've done it. Like my mother just passed. Like actually, she's passed since I spoke at the
ain't.
deal. So my mother just passed a few months ago. So, so yeah, like it's you can do it. Trust me, if I can, you can too.
That's one of the biggest messages I think that people need to understand is that
Yeah,
regardless of what it is that we deal with in life, um, you can you can get through it. And you can get through it one of two ways. You can get through it as an overcomer, or you can get through it kicking and screaming.
Mm.
Them the only two ways but you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
One is just going to take longer than the other. And one is going to exhaust all of your strength and your energy versus the other way.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
as we close out the show, I want to give you an opportunity to share anything that you want to share with our audience.
I don't know if I got anything else to share, but shit, hey, it's been some real talk. Like, I think we really dove deep, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I've had a lot of good time, so thanks for that. Thanks for the opportunity to think highly enough of me to have me on your platform. I really appreciate it. I wish you continued success, but I think for the most part, I'll just leave with my tagline on my YouTube channel and podcast. And for me, when I say these words, it gives me chills because there's life experience behind every single word, right? And so the tagline is live, learn, serve, inspire, go get it. And when I say live, we have to live a life where we're not afraid to live. Like you talked about, they dared me. We have to live and be open to experiencing some things, right? And when we live a life like that, we learn so much about, ourselves. We grow, the world. We learn so much. And as we're doing that, it's important to serve others. When you live and learn, you have to serve others and help them move more efficiently and effectively based off of the things that you've experienced in your life. And then inspire is the next word. And little do you know that when you're growing through your go through, when you're living, learning, serving, and going through those tough things, and you still push and you get over the hump and you still make it, hey, it's inspiring to some people, right? You may not think that, but it's inspiring to lots of people. And so you got to keep keeping on. And then the last part is go get it. We talked about that. If you want great things to happen, it's not going to come to you. You got to go make it happen. So live, you got to go get it. So live, learn, serve, inspire, go get it.
All right, I like that. I might have to use that. But I like that.
Use it up. I'm gonna use the fail early and retry. We'll trade. How about that?
Sounds good. Well, I thank you so very much for coming on to the show and sharing your personality, your wisdom, and your heart with our audience. A lot of times we don't see our males leaving a positive legacy. And when you have an opportunity to experience it, it's a great thing. So thank you for leaving a positive legacy that even my grandkids would be blessed to be able to witness and to follow after. So I honor you, Chip Baker. I honor you as being a leader in your own right. I honor you for being not only a leader, but someone that we can look up to and our young people can aspire to take those traits after. And I honor you for the legacy that you're living now that others will experience and make it a part of the foundation in which they walk on, that they live on, and that they grow from. So again, this is Michelle with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated. Now, we know that we're going into the Christmas season. We're getting ready to hit New Year's. Next week is Christmas Eve. The week after that is New Year's Eve. And your girl, Michelle, will not be on until the first Thursday in January, where we start our new season. So, Chip, thank you again for being on. Everyone in the audience, thank you for tuning in. And I'll leave you with this. Life is precious. Live it in the moment. And then grow into who it is that you're meant to be, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Enjoy your holiday season And I'll look forward to seeing you in the new year. Everybody be blessed. Bye bye.
Go get it.
Go get it.